Hi, this is Megan with Beadaholique, and today I'm going to show you how to do brick stitch with a half Tila bead. And this would also work with a super duo brick. I just am going to show you today on the half Tila so that you can see how to do this project, which is the silver wave bracelet. And the instructions are on our website for that. So obviously I'm going to be using a big fat black thread so that you can see my thread, but this stitch is going to look better if you use a thinner thread, like a FireLine, so that you don't see your thread because it does have thread bridges running between the rows. So in order to do brick stitch with these 2-hole beads, you need to already know how to do brick stitch traditionally. So if you don't know how to do brick stitch, I recommend not only watching that video, but learning how to do it first. This is a little bit more of an advanced technique, so it is going to be extremely helpful if you know how to do regular brick stitch. So doing brick stitch with these beads, you're going to treat each hole as a new bead. So just like with the regular brick stitch, I'm going to start with ladder stitch, and I'm going to treat every hole like a new bead. So I'm going to start by going right around through the single bead, back down, and pick up a new bead. And I'm going to do a piece that's 3 beads wide. And then through the next hole, just like it's a new bead. Pick up our 3rd bead. And don't forget to go ahead and go all the way through to the end hole because you will need that thread bridge to build off of. Okay, weave back through to stabilize that. Okay, and now we're ready to start the brick stitch. And as you know, brick stitch is going to move back and forth a little bit. So right here on our bracelet, you can see that I take advantage of that fact and I move in one direction for a few rows and then I change direction. So in this particular bracelet, I've moved 5 rows. I did my row of ladder stitch, then 4 rows of brick stitch for 5 rows in one direction, and then I add 4 rows in a new direction, change direction, 4 rows, change direction, 4 rows. So if you want to do this pattern, that's how I achieved that. So just like when you start a row of regular brick stitch, you pick up 2 beads. You're going to pick up 1 bead, but you're going to use both holes. So pick up your bead and go through 1 hole and then back down through the 2nd hole. Then you're going to go through your first thread bridge, which is between the 2 holes of that first bead, and then go back up through your 2nd hole. And when you pull that snug, you're going to see it jogs out to the right. Pick up another bead and go through the next thread bridge. Back up through the bead just like you're used to. And now that next hole is like a new bead. Go down through, catch the next thread bridge, and back up through the hole. Okay, now I'll add our last bead, our 3rd bead, through the next thread bridge, and then on the 2nd hole you're going to go through that last thread bridge down there. So that's your first row of brick stitch on top of your ladder. Okay. Now when you flip it over, instead of moving back the other way right away, we want to continue in that direction. So whereas usually if you want to move forward in that way, you would pick up your beads, your 2 beads, and then you'd skip the first thread bridge and go through the second. So I'm going to go through and up through and back down through both holes, and then just like you would, skip the first thread bridge, go through the second. And now generally in brick stitch, you would need to go back around these to snug them up and have them sit tight. This one's going to sit fine because it's connected. So I'm just going to go on. All right, now just like in a standard brick stitch, your last bead, so your last hole, is going to actually just go through the hole below instead of on a bridge. And then go back up through here. Now, usually in brick stitch, you'd go through the third hole, back down the second, and out through the end. On this one, if you're using a nice thin thread, because it's just 1 bead over, you can just go ahead and cheat and go through that last hole. That's what I did on this one, and it's worked out fine. So you're just going to continue like that. And I've shown you how to have your row go to the right and how to have your row go to the left. So continue alternating back and forth to continue in one direction, and then just switch to the other direction when you're ready to change direction. And that's how you do brick stitch with a half Tila bead.